Hello, this is Steve with the Free Bullion Investment Guide. Today is March 30th, and I'm doing a review and outlook for the price of gold. This is gold's 4-hour chart. And in review of last week's video, I had shown you this rising expanding wedge, which is a negative pattern over the price of gold, and this falling expanding wedge, which is a positive pattern over the price of gold. Both patterns were confirmed last week. As we can see, early in the week, the falling expanding wedge was confirmed to the upside. The price of gold moved up mostly on a report that consumer confidence fell in March, and the price of gold just moved on up to the 1325 level. It peaked at the 1325 level, but it basically stopped there and held there for Tuesday. However, on Wednesday morning, we heard that China and U.S. were making progress in their trade talks. And we also heard that the vice president of China will be coming back to the U.S. for more trade talks next week. So that helped the price of gold to fall in price. And we heard that the GDP was revised down to 2.2% from last week's 2.6%. Now, last week, in last week's video, I'm stated as telling you that if the if the revised GDP report came in below 2.6%, I stated that gold would rise. But the market thought differently. The market wasn't surprised by the 2.2%, and so it really just took things in stride, and the dollar actually rose and the price of gold fell because, again, there was no real surprises in the revised numbers, and it was what the market was expecting. And plus, the 2.6% that was reported last week turns out to be it's just really a preliminary report and not the revised report, obviously. So the market wasn't surprised, so the price of gold fell, tested the 1290 level. However, it did bounce back up and tried to test the 1300 level, but it was unable to make it above that resistance level, and it has continued to just consolidate. Now, in the week to come, that takes care as far as the review of the price of gold. I'm just going to shade out these lines so you can still see them, know where they were, but by graying them out, you know that they're irrelevant now. But as far as a new pattern in the price of gold, we do have a new large falling expanding wedge. It is a new positive pattern in the price of gold, and like the old one, it should move above it. Now, whether that happens this week or not, that will be that's unforeseen. Excuse the pop-ups there. As far as excuse me, getting caught up on words. As far as any reports go, the biggest report in next week will be the non-farm payroll report that comes out at the end next week. If that's a good report, we'll likely see the price of gold fall, because it could give sentiment to the Fed that says that they should raise rates. But the biggest thing is the yield curve. The yield curve has not stopped inverting. And if it continues to invert, I'd be willing to say that the Fed may step in at their next meeting and drop rates, and to try to get that curve to look more positive for the market. So, and if they drop rates, then the price of gold will move higher. But again, the Chinese U.S. trade talks, if they go well, that will be a negative for gold. And I'm really not putting a whole lot of weight on the payroll report, simply because most of the market is paying attention to the trade talks, and really also watching the yield curve. So both of those are things to pay attention to. I will have links in the description section below to the articles that I've shown you, and also a link to what the yield curve is doing. And you can see it's an animated interactive chart that you can can take a look at. It's really kind of neat to go back and look. I don't have the link to it right now, but it was in last week's video, and it's really a little bit of fast, and it can help you. It can definitely help you as far as paying attention to how the yield curve is moving. So that's it for this week. Again, the MACD and the RSI are both in oversold areas, and the price of gold looks like it may move back higher. We do have a large positive pattern. However, 1280 may be tested. It's really up to what happens in the trade talks as far as which way gold will likely move next week. So we'll see what happens. And I thank you for your time. Take care, and God bless.